So I'm going to do a reaction video to Magdalene Rose's recent video.
Oh, well, people need to be awake and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against.
Alright, so here we go. I'm going to play it and then I'm going to pause and tell you what I think throughout the video.
Yes, it is true. Okay, that looks like enough people. So I want to start this off by saying that I assume this live stream will get a lot of negative reaction in the conservative world. That's just part and parcel for things that I put out there. That's okay. I recently interviewed two young conservative women in interviews that will be coming out soon, one of which was 16, the other one was my age, 19. And we talked about the current messaging of the Republican Party and the reason why young people who are already conservative are conservative. And the message that I got from both of them, as well as other young people I've spoken to recently while I've been doing this interview series, is that they like the clarity President Trump has provided on issues, whether or not that's the economy, abortion, foreign policy. They like when he provides clarity. The second thing was that if the Republican Party begins to compromise on core social issues like abortion, it will provide a gray area where they will not be sure if they can vote Republican anymore.
So I'm going to stop and react to that. I think that people would still vote Republican, but some may just not vote at all. But you want people to be excited about voting Republican. And I think that's what she's getting at. You're going to lose that. Definitely Generation Z, I see that they're very pro-life. I'm very surprised. But I also see, I think across all ages, I think there's a resurgence of people being pro-life. Probably because of how crazy with pro-abortion that the left has gotten. A lot of people are like, you know what? I never really thought about the issue too much, but now I'm like, this is going too far. So you get a lot of that too. All right, keep going.
Where the young people they know who are conservatives, who are active in being conservatives, not so much Republicans, but are conservatives, will find the Republican Party to not be their party anymore. There's a lot of new people in the conservative world, which is great. I'm so glad President Trump has brought people in and that's happening. But these people who are giving advice on the youth vote, especially in relation to already existing young conservatives, don't understand the conservative world. They don't get what the core base of young people in the conservative world is. And really that is a very Christian base.
I know who she's talking about. She's talking about your classical, not really classical, but you have certain groups that they're almost like young rhinos. I'll say it. Fine, I'll say it. TPUSA, a lot of people quietly don't like them, but they seem to be the ones having all the conferences, and they are collaborating with all the other groups, which is why I think we need to work to rise up more groups and have those groups not work with TPUSA. Maybe Walkaway could be the group. I know Walkaway is a little new, so they may not have a lot of resources to do a lot of activities, but activities they do, fundraising could be incorporated into it. Like when they did the March on Washington, they also had like a breakfast, and I think they had a dinner on the Friday night and a breakfast on the Sunday morning. Both of them were fundraisers, and you could pay for like VIP seating, VIP this and that, to like meet the speakers and stuff. Let's keep going.
It is a base of young Christians of all denominations and young Jewish people who are out there trying to promote what they feel is necessary in America for the safety of their families and such. So these young people and these new strategists and new commentators who are telling the Republican Party to compromise on certain social things or to compromise on messaging because that's how you get more young people are wrong. And what will happen if the Republican Party listens to them is that the already existing core base of people we have will become disenfranchised. I hate when...
And, again, yes, this is definitely an issue for young people, but it's also an issue for people of all ages. There's a Republican club that I'm in here in Queens, and it had been a club, and then somebody else was running it, and then they lost people so much that they basically stopped the club. And this woman, God bless her, Vicky Palladino, she ran after de Blasio and told him, like, he ran away from the city and he doesn't pay his cops, and that clip went viral, like, everywhere. You may have seen it. So people came out of the woodwork. Oh, they found her. They found her on Facebook, and they came out of the woodwork. Some people already knew her because she was already a part of the conservative clubs in that area. But a lot of people came out of the woodwork and found this woman, and they were inspired by her, and so she restarted this club. Well, it started with, I think we had like 50 people the first meeting already. And now, I think the last meeting was like 150 people. Now, we're talking, it hasn't even been a year that we've started this meeting. And we haven't really even put in the effort that I thought we were going to put in to build the club. Very easily, we could have the club over 200 people a month very quickly. And if we actually, like, hammered the pavement, we could end up with like 500 people at the meeting. We could end up with the club being so big, we would have to break the club in half. And have like 2 different branches of it, which was actually kind of our hope at one point. But people like someone who is on fire, you know, no matter what age. But I think it's definitely more true of young people.
Anyone aside from politics and whatnot dismisses the people they already have working for them or supporting them to get new people. It's a recipe for disaster. And the current Republican strategists and commentators who are getting a lot of limelight right now, who are out there saying, well, we need to backpedal away from social issues, that the Republican Party isn't focusing on social issues, and even that the MAGA movement isn't focusing on social issues, are making a huge mistake. Young conservatives that are already conservatives, aside from a group of them, tend to be actually conservative. They tend to actually care about these things, and the bedrock of the young conservative world is the more socially conservative people. And if you move the party to where they feel ostracized, that's going to be a problem, because so many times their parents, their grandparents are the people on the ground doing fundraising, going door to door. They're out there fighting for things like abortion to protect babies in the way that they are. So these young strategists, I feel that they need to understand that
and that's the thing with our club that I was just telling you about. It's mixed ages. It started out, it was all older people, and a lot of the new people that we've grabbed in to the club, and I've been inviting people on Twitter and whatnot. So if you know anybody in New York City, send them my way. But what I was saying is that, you know, the people that are joining the club, people are excited. They want to hit the ground running. They want to get out there and do something. So that's one of my frustrations, is the Republican Party doesn't really take advantage of people who want to do activism. There are some people who don't want to do it because they're afraid of Antifa, but I think even so, I think it could be done. But yeah, you can't take people for granted.
They completely understand Republican politics. You may get that, but you don't understand the conservative world outside.
Oh, I don't think these people do. You have a handful of these millennials, and they're going to these boomers, and they're basically going, I'm an influencer, I know how to get things viral, da-da-da-da. They're bragging about themselves because they grew up in this, you know, everybody gets a trophy type lifestyle and mindset. I recently watched the symposium at the Wall, and one of the things was Steve Bannon kept saying, oh yeah, there was some girl on there on the panel who was, I had never heard of her. Her name is Fog City Midge. I had never heard of her. And I've heard of a lot of people. I sub to over 350 channels. And there's a lot of channels that I know who the channels are, but I'm not sub to them. I had never, ever, ever came across this girl. And he was like saying she's one of the top influencers. And I'm like, but I've never heard of her, you know, and I know who the top influencers are. So I looked at like her sub counts and her follow counts on all her social media, and the highest one she had was 42,000 people on Instagram. And it's like, that's not that much compared to, I mean, you look at people like Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder have over 1 million subscribers. To me, a top influencer has to have 1 million subscribers. The top influencers in the conservative world, maybe like 800,000 subscribers and up. Which, by the way, they're taking our sub counts off. Don't know if you knew that. Anyway, let's keep going.
Side of Twitter. There's this misnomer that because you understand the conservative world on Twitter, that you understand the conservative world in real life, the power of the young conservative.
And again, I don't think it's that. I think people think that they know how to like make things go viral and this and that. And the reality is their subscribers are mostly being recycled. And we do need to reach the moderate, but I think that the moderate will be attracted to us if we show strength, not if we show weakness. So it's basically the same result as what Mahgdalen is saying, but for slightly a different reason. I'm going at it from a different angle.
Culture right now comes a lot from Christian celebrities. It comes a lot from people who had reality TV shows who are Christians. It comes from that base. That is the base of power. That is where young girls who are conservative go to look on Instagram. It's where they go on YouTube. That's what it is. And if you continue down this path where you chip away at that, where you say we're going to move the party to this direction, to the center left or whatnot, because you think you have a better idea of what's going to happen, you're going to screw us over, because the bedrock is the people who are not movable. That's the bedrock. And the left understands this. The left is trying to move their party more to where the base is, which of course doesn't always work, but they understand that. I don't get why we're trying and having discussions about moving the new young conservatives that are coming in away from the base, which is the more traditional conservatives. There's also this idea that, you know, we have to have all these shiny new ideas. I think people think President Trump is much more of a change agent than he is in these situations. He's a change agent in policy and tone and all these things, but he is a conservative at the end of the day. And I know people object to that, but he is. So these new people in the Republican Party who understand Republican politics and Twitter conservative world need to understand that they either need to go into the real conservative world, into the real, Midwest, into the breadbasket, into these areas and learn about the culture there, or they need to stop going to RNC headquarters, which is happening now, and giving advice about how to grow the current youth base of the Republican Party.
Yeah, and on that note, I actually want to say, I know most people would figure like conservatives live in the Midwest or in the Rust Belt. And we're not young people again, but like our club has a very, when you go to my club meetings, my Republican club meetings, there's a very different, it's like you walk into a different culture, and it's almost like a Midwest culture when you walk in that room. It's a conservative culture. So it's not just that, but I wonder if these people are going out, if they're just going out and being like pompous and showy, in front of people, or if they're actually going, that's the thing, is going to meetings and sitting in the meetings and talking to people and just being a regular person, as opposed to some of these millennial influencers. I think that's what it is. They look at it as like being an influencer. They look at it as she's right that they're very light on their conservatism, and they look at it as like a fun thing almost, with a little political conservative sprinkled on top. But they see themselves as like YouTubers first, and they don't really see themselves as political people to the extent that a lot of the base or the people that are going to the meetings and going out and door knocking for candidates and so on and so forth, they're not, I don't think they're doing those activities. They're just getting in front of cameras and just, being popular and cool and feeling special because they're on Fox News or they're on ONN, and maybe they're missing something. It's like they're sort of a celebrity, but on the other hand, they're completely detached from the rest of us. And we need leaders who are not detached.
Because they have no idea how to do that. It's just, how do you know how to do that if you don't interact with the actual base?
Exactly.
Twitter is not real life in the way that they think it is, and I just want people to understand that if you compromise on the core values, whether that's abortion or being fiscally conservative or just the Americana-ness of the Republican Party, you risk losing your current young conservative base. And just closing, how could you possibly expect to grow your base, to bring more people in, if your core constituency in the young conservative world doesn't care anymore? How is that possible? It's not possible, and it's incredibly irresponsible. So do not listen to these sudden conservatives in a lot of times on how to grow the current young conservative base. Thanks, guys, and please like and share this, and please be a little bit gentle in the comment section. I'm not hating on new conservatives. I'm simply saying you have to have a level of understanding of the real conservative world. This is not a hate fest. It's just the truth about what really goes on in the bedrock of the young conservative world. Thank you, and please like and share this.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, just to top off what she said. Exactly. You need people, like I was saying about my Republican club, you need people who are going to come to the meetings and already be there and excited and happy and cheery, and so that when new people come, they feel energy, the energy in the room, and in the love and the culture, all of that like kind of radiates. And then that's why the club is growing so fast, because a good chunk of the people that have grown the club are basically the speakers. People we invite to speak. We invite these people to speak. Now, you would think somebody comes to speak and then they're not going to come back ever. Especially some of these people live really far. We invite people to speak and they love our club so much, they start coming to the meetings and inviting their friends. That's one of the main ways that our club has actually been growing. And we haven't even actively tried to grow our club the way we should. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, well, people need to be awake, and they need to be awake, and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against the stuff. Oh, well, people need to be awake. People need to be awake, and they need to be aware. They need to stand up against the stuff.
And it's so politically engaged. And it's so politically engaged.